So after doing my quarterly reading wrap-ups last year, I decided I wanted to do a full 2024 reading wrap-up. So this is my year in books. I read 61 books, which I'm really happy with. Over 20,000 pages, which is just insane to me. For some reason, last year just didn't have the attention span for longer books, so I've put quite a few long books on my TBR for this year. But last year, we just wanted the short books. So over 20,000 pages, I feel like that's pretty good. And 40 authors. There were so many authors that I read multiple books from because I absolutely loved them, and I found a bunch of new favourite authors. So I feel like I had a really good year last year. So I read quite a few ARCs this year, which meant that I read a lot of ebooks. So we had 36 ebooks, 24 paperbacks, which I'm really happy with because my goal for the year was to read a lot more of my physical TBR, and I feel like I did quite well. It's quite an even split. And then I listened to one audiobook. I don't think audiobooks are for me. I don't pay attention to them. So we listened to one to try it, not for us, so I don't think I'll be listening to any more this year. So the genre breakdown. Obviously, romance is my biggest genre. I read 46 romance books, and then there's a pretty even split between dark romance and fantasy. I decided to put dark romance as a separate category because I just feel like it's a different type of genre that I reach for in different times, whereas romance covers sports romance, cowboy romance, everything like that. I didn't want to break those down, whereas dark romance to me does feel like a separate genre sometimes. So I feel like we did diversify a little bit. I'm quite happy with the fantasy one, but I do want to read way more fantasy books in 2025. Ratings. We all know I'm a serial overrater, so I rated, out of the 61 books I read, 46 had 5 stars, 9 had 4.5, and 6 had 4. So I feel like overall, I really enjoyed the books that I read last year, and that's my goal, is to find books that I really enjoy. If it was a good time, I'm going to give it 5 stars. I don't care if the writing wasn't perfect. If I had a blast reading it, you're getting 5 stars. My most read tropes. Now, my favourite trope is the single parent trope, so I thought they would be up here, and cowboy romance, but clearly I didn't read that many, and I was quite shocked by this. My number one most read trope was forced proximity. Now, I've taken forced proximity to be workplace romances, roommates to lovers, and just kind of put those all together. Grumpy Sunshine as second, Small Town's third. That doesn't surprise me. I do love a small town romance. So these were my 3 most read tropes, and I'm really excited to see what I'm going to pick in the new year and what kind of tropes I'm going to be gravitating towards. So these are my 10 favourite books from 2024. I've made a separate video on them, so I won't go into too much detail. But we have The Fake Out, Live Ranch Love, When in Rome, Practice Makes Perfect, The Wingman, Heartless, Wildfire, That First Flight, Mad Love, and the entirety of the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I didn't think it was fair to pick one out of the series because I love them all, and I couldn't put 3 of them on there because then I didn't have space for the other books. So just, this counts for the whole series, okay? Then my top book boyfriends. These have all been in my quarterly wrap-ups, but they needed their special space on this wrap-up because I absolutely loved every single one of them. Oliver Ford from That First Flight. If you don't know, please go and read it because he is the greenest flag MMC I have ever read. I love him so much. You need to go read him. Rory and Hayden from the Vancouver Storm series by Stephanie Archer. Jax, obviously. Cade. Heartless was my favourite out of the series, so Cade got his special place on there. And another cowboy, Wyatt Hensley. If you haven't read Live Ranch Love, please go and read it because Wyatt is going to immediately go on your book boyfriend list. He is just amazing. And then we have Will and Noah from When in Rome and Practice Makes Perfect, and I absolutely loved that series. It is my comfort series and I couldn't not include them because they are just adorable. Then my little goal for the year was 50 books. I read 61, so I'm really happy with that. We read 11 more than we thought. I had set myself 24 books that I wanted to read in 2024 from my physical TBR because a lot of these are still unread. I only managed to read 10, so that wasn't great, but we hit our goal overall, so we'll just pretend this wasn't there. So that was my 2024 reading wrap up.